right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host, Jake Ellenbogen. And guys, we have a very special guest on the show today. We have a Rams drafts pick, Daniel Hardy, out of Montana State. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. It's awesome to be able to have you on. We're really excited. Just the potential that you're going to bring to the Rams, for hopefully a long time. So we're happy that you're a Ram, but just getting, it started to get to know you a little bit better. Daniel, I'm going to ask you, what age did you start playing football, and when did it become apparent that you could be doing this in the NFL one day?
Uh, I was 17 when I started playing football, and honestly, not really until somewhere in between my junior and senior season of football.
And growing up, so you started playing football when you were 17, but did you watch any of the NFL growing up or in high school? And if so, did you have a favorite player?
Yeah, we kind of had a TV wasn't huge in our house, so we were encouraged to go outside and climb trees. But the big games, obviously, the Super Bowl, the playoffs, all that. We'd catch them when they were on. And honestly, I was so my older brother, because I wasn't much of a football fan, so I kind of just tagged along with my older brother, and he was a huge Philadelphia fan. And so, my favorite player from them was Mike Vick.
No, that makes sense. And that Super Bowl, I'm wearing the Super Bowl hoodie for the team that you're not playing on. But the team that you were playing on, the school that you did go to, what made you decide to play at Montana State?
Well, honestly, it honestly wasn't even all that much my decision. So like I said, I started playing football in my senior season of high school. And so I didn't get too many looks coming out of high school. So I ended up going to a JUCO, and Montana State, found me. And, I had one other college that I could have went to, but I ultimately chose to go with Montana State just because of the interaction I saw between the players and the coaches. It seemed like the players had like genuine relationships with the coaches, and it seemed like more of a family than it did, anything else.
And, Montana State, it doesn't get a ton of attention as much as it should for football, but you guys do play a lot of really, really good competition. Very underrated, a lot of tough guys. Would you say that there's anyone that stands out to you from your college career as being one of the toughest guys that you had to face?
Toughest guys I had to face were right on my home field, were dudes on our team. We had some crazy stacked talent. I was actually talking with him today, but Lewis Kidd was one of the best tackles I've ever gone against. And that guy used to, I give him a lot of credit because he used to destroy me regularly, in practice. And he never took it easy on me, which is what allowed me to get better and better and better. So I think he's the Saints now. He signed with the Saints.
Oh, that's awesome. And I was just going to mention, obviously, you play with, Troy Anderson. He goes in the second round to Atlanta. And then Lance McCutcheon, who's now with you with the Rams. What are your thoughts on that real quick, now that you get another Montana State guy with you heading on in this journey?
I think it's pretty awesome. We were actually training together for our pro days at the same gym up in Washington. It's FS Ford Sports Performance. And so we've kind of been going through this entire process together. So it's actually really nuts that we keep going. But I think it's really great. Being teammates, we're pretty close. It's we have a type of relationship where we can lean on each other when things get tough. And I think, going up against one of the biggest challenges of probably both of our lives is probably going to be, we'll probably need each other more than ever.
For sure. And, going back to the draft and when you were drafted, pick 235, what was the emotion, getting that phone call that you'd been drafted by the Los Angeles Rams?
We were ecstatic over here. Honestly, at that point, waiting those 2 days before and then all day just watching names fly off the board. And, it's kind of, a small part of me didn't kind of thought I wasn't going to get picked. And I had a couple teams call in for free agency. I'm getting recruiting pitches. And I was on the phone FaceTiming the head of the Philadelphia Eagles, their head coach. And when I got the call, I didn't know who it was, and I wasn't going to answer. It was just letting it ring. And as I'm on the phone, I see a little text message from my agent pop up, and he goes, "Hang up and answer the phone right now." And I did, and it ended up being them, and we just kind of went nuts over here because I probably couldn't have landed in a better spot. California is like, and in LA is like, I spent most of my summers down there as a kid. I got lots of family down there, and it's almost like a homecoming. So it was really, really great to get picked, and we all celebrated and went crazy.
Yeah, and I got to ask. I mean, obviously, being drafted is great, and you kind of alluded to the idea. This is a good fit for you. It's a good location. But what is it like knowing that the team that just won the Super Bowl wanted you on their roster?
It feels pretty great. But more importantly, you just kind of look at it as a learning opportunity because you're on a team where they know how to win. It's like, it's almost like going to Alabama. Like they know what they're doing. They know how to win football games. They have the recipe, and it's all about how can I learn that recipe and indoctrinate it into what, the way I go about doing my business.
And, I'm very curious because Jake and I, during the off season, we talked to a lot of like draft prospects. And it's always interesting to us to see how some teams will have a lot of contact with a player and then draft them. Other teams will never talk to somebody and then draft them. So I have to ask, did you have any contact with the Rams pre-draft? Did you talk to them at all, or was it a total surprise when they called and drafted you?
I had one phone call with Thad Bogardus, outside linebackers coach, and that was it. I hadn't heard anything else. They were in contact with my agent a little bit about me, but other than that, I hadn't talked to a head coach, a GM, no visits, no Zoom calls, no nothing. And so I was very surprised that they picked me because, in preparation for everything that's going on, talked to my agent. He was like, yeah, normally teams, unless you've been, they bring you on a 30 visit or they see you at the combine, and I didn't have a combine invite. They don't really have a feel for who you are as a person. So they usually won't try and, they won't pick you in the draft, but he said it's not unheard of. So it was nuts because I wasn't expecting that at all. I felt like I was going to get, if I got picked by anybody, it would be any of the teams that I had spent a significant amount of times talking to.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I think throughout the time that we've been interviewing prospects, since early 2019 and maybe even earlier than that, I've noticed a little pattern with the Rams is that, yes, they will draft guys that they've met, but they also draft guys sometimes that they've never met. And I think, one of your new teammates, Quentin Lake, at the time of our interview, he said, I filled out a questionnaire at the PA Bowl, and that was that. Like, he didn't, so I don't know if that changed down the road where they did get in touch with him. But for the most part, that was the only, at least to our knowledge at that point, it was the only like interaction they had with Quentin Lake, and they end up drafting him, in the 6th. So, but going back, you said you were a little surprised that you went there, a little surprised that, they wanted you. But what do you think was the main reason, now that you know that they wanted you? What do you think was the main deciding factor in them picking you in the NFL draft?
Honestly, I had a pretty good year with lots of production my senior year. But honestly, I think the main thing that got me over there was my special teams play. Sean McVay kept talking, in all the interviews I saw, he kept talking about how their special teams coach loved my tape and really wanted me to be over there. And so I think, that was the number one thing that stood out to them and that has the highest value on their team. And honestly, it's the best way to make the team to begin with. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. And, just looking at the other draft picks, have you had any contact with your new teammates yet?
I haven't yet. I would assume that that'll happen, more once we get down there and, they're still, they didn't have a mini camp this year because they went to the Super Bowl last year. So the first time I'll be getting to be in contact with anybody will be these OTAs coming up.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't even really think about that, but yeah, the OTAs, that'll be big for you. I mean, you'll get to see everybody there instead of just the rookies, which normally that's what the process would have been any other year, like you're saying. But, you, Daniel Hardy, as a player, what do you feel is your biggest strength that you're bringing day one to a Rams defense?
I think I'm relentless. Like, you can turn on the tape and see that when the play's over and the whistle blows, I'm either on top of the ball or somewhere near that thing. I don't really give up, and I think I have a high motor that not a lot of people can hang with. And obviously going to the NFL is probably going to change, but I still think bringing that to the table is something you can't really go wrong with. And then also I think I don't have a problem getting my hands dirty. I don't care about playing special teams. It's a huge part of the game, and I'm willing to do it.
And as the NFL season approaches, and just as OTAs approach and all of that, is there anything specific that you are looking to improve on? Before the season starts, is there anything about your game that or any goals that you've set for yourself on anything specific that you're looking to improve on?
Well, honestly, so this last year I played all defensive end. I had my hand in the dirt the whole entire time, and I think they're looking to move me into that stand-up Sam linebacker position. So really just honestly it's pass coverage, because it's not something I haven't worked on in the last 12 months or anything like that. So I'm just getting a feel for that again, and the footwork and loose hips and all that jazz that I used to do, and just getting back into that linebacker mindset.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for sure. And I think looking at the NFL, we like to ask, some fun questions here and there. And one of them, and there might not be an answer, but if there is anyone in particular that stands out to you, is there anyone out there in the NFL that you're really excited to match up against?
I think, honestly, really just, I would love to get in a game with Tom Brady, because just to, as some, that's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever pick up a football. And, I would love to see the way he operates in a game. And, honestly, because, sometimes when you're watching guys on tape and, in college, and they're like, oh, this guy's really good. And you get in the game and it's like, okay, he's good, but, he's not like that. And obviously Tom Brady's a legend, and I really want to see his level of operation. I want to be able to experience that.
Definitely popular answer. No matter if we're talking to draft prospects or guys that have already been drafted, it's always Tom Brady. They can't say it faster. Everybody wants to play in a game against Tom Brady, understandably, because like you said, he's a legend, arguably the GOAT. So
they are on the schedule. They are on the schedule.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. They are on the schedule. So definitely, I know you'll be looking forward to that game. But what most excites you about being part of this Rams organization and just being part of the Rams franchise?
Somebody who's a pass rusher, and kind of that's kind of my calling card, is what I'm good at. Just the opportunity to learn from one of the greatest pass rushers in the game right now, Aaron Donald. We watched tape on that guy at Montana State, and he's literally the walking example of what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to go about getting after quarterbacks. And to be able to go from just watching him on tape and trying to learn from him, to actually be able to if I have a question, I can actually go talk to him, or if he's willing to teach. But it's just, I think that's insane to me. It's kind of like if you were a basketball player getting to meet Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, or just one of the guys who's a prolific pass rusher in this league.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because when you look at say Leonard Floyd, I mean, obviously in his own right, very good run defender, and I think he was a pretty solid pass rusher, but you felt like there was definitely a ceiling there. You felt like there was definitely more potential that was left untapped leaving Chicago. So he goes to the Rams. Now all of a sudden he's doing similar, the jump shot that Aaron Donald, he taught like everybody on that defensive line that move. So, I mean, you're going to, a situation here where this guy, yeah, he may be the best in the league. And I know a lot of people tend to assume that the top guys aren't like willing to teach guys, but we've seen it. I mean, we've seen it with Greg Gaines, with Morgan Fox, who was with the Rams, a lot of these former Rams pass rushers, and, they all have kind of the same, flow. And when you're in that room with somebody, it can be infectious. So clearly this guy is willing to do that. And that's something to keep in mind, moving forward with that. But what I want to ask you, Daniel, going into year one of your NFL career, your rookie year, obviously it's important to make a big first time impression, but we've seen so many players have great rookie years and fall off, or, not so great rookie years and really be the late bloomer. But is there one particular goal in mind your rookie year that is most important for you?
Honestly, as somebody who was I wasn't a first, second round pick, not even fourth, not even, early seventh, as a late round, late seventh round pick. Honestly, it's just solidify a spot on the team. Make the 46, be a starter on special teams, all four phases. And then, honestly, just don't get complacent. There's a lot of, you got a blue check mark, a bunch of people following you, telling you congratulations, you did a good job. You finally have accomplished your dreams. I could see, it's real easy to get, satisfied with where you're at, and you make a little money and then, then what? But really just to stay humble and hungry. Remember the same things that got me here and use them to help me be successful in the future.
And what are the Rams getting out of Daniel Hardy as a player and as a person?
As a person, I'm somebody who really cares about the community. I was always taught to give back. I'm always for the kids. I love the fans. And so, I'm a faithful person. At Montana State, I led the prayers after the games, on the logo and everything. And, a good teammate. I'm always happy to see my teammates' success, and, I'm always encouraging my teammates, and, I'm just somebody who wants to help build the program up and, fully buy into the mission. As far as a player, like we talked about, I'm relentless. I don't take plays off, and, when I get my shot, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take it, all gas, no brakes type of guy. So, and, honestly, sponge, like I said, I'm willing to learn. There's so much that this league has to offer from, coaches who've been coaching for forever, who, know the game inside and out. And obviously players like we talked about who just have an insane amount of experience. It's just, there's so much to learn in so many ways that I can take my game from one level to the next.
I couldn't agree more. And I think this is why, looking at your tape, looking at the athletic scores, obviously you're an incredible athlete, it matches the film, but you're going, with Thad Bogartis, you're going with Aaron Donald, you're going to be around these guys. You said you're a sponge. I think that is perfect for the Rams, obviously. But on top of it, you come right away, and the first thing you're talking about is how, you're going to be a special teamer, and you're going to, work your way, and you're going to, really force their hand to put you on that 46 bunch of guys and make sure that you are active on game days. And, I think that goes a long way. It's very we, not me, which is really what their culture is all about. I'm sure you've probably heard of that before. So, I'm excited for you in that regard. And, it's funny because, when they drafted you, very similar, I'm going to be honest with you, when they drafted you, very similar to last year when they picked Chris Garrett, we didn't know who you were. And then I went back and I was like, wait a minute. You were that pass rusher when I was sitting there watching Troy Anderson film. You were that pass rusher getting the quarterback. You were the one single-handedly dominating Weber State and probably wishing that they weren't playing you guys. You were the one like going through all those games. You had 3 sacks in that Weber State game. You know what I mean? Like you were constantly around not only the quarterback, but wherever the ball carrier was, in the backfield. It's really impressive. And I think it's really why Montana State got to what I believe. I think you guys did get to the FCS championship game against North Dakota State, if I'm not mistaken. And it's why you guys got there. I think people like you, people like Troy, people like, Lance on the other side of the ball. I mean, you can see why, like, I know this is the first time in the history of your program that you've had two guys drafted out of that program. It's not a surprise. You guys are on the rise, and I think it's a lot of what you embody as the reason. So, I obviously I can speak for myself. I'm sure I speak for Alexis here when I say we're really psyched and we're pumped to see you and your journey with the Rams because obviously it's surreal getting to talk with you, and then obviously we'll see you in horns and see you in preseason working your way through the rungs. But it's so much more than that. Just knowing that they got a guy that I think you are basically you're what they look for, And when you let a guy like say Von Miller walk in free agency, you try to bring him back, he doesn't come back, and then you basically opt to not go after anybody, in free agency. You didn't fill the void there. You have Justin Hollins, you have Terrell Lewis, talked about Leonard Floyd, but it's you and Chris Garrett after that, And so I think there's a really big opportunity for you in this, this team.
Anyway, so we do have a couple fun questions. They're actually recommendation questions that we like to ask. Mostly, well, I'm like very nosy and I really like recommendations about things. An album, a movie, and a snack. Because the snack I added in, we originally were just doing the first two, but then I was like, I need to know a snack that I can eat while I'm watching these movies. Oh no, it's a TV show, not a movie. Well, either one. I need a snack. I like to snack while I watch Netflix. I'm very big binging true crime, and eating a snack is like a thing I like to do. So the TV show or movie, either one, an album, and a snack.
All right. If you give me a second, I got to look up the name of the album. But one of my favorite artists out right now, or well, honestly, not even right now. I've been listening to him since like way back in 2018, 19. But it's Blast. So his name is spelled BLXST.
Okay, I might actually have something by him in my library now. I have to check.
He's an LA guy. I know that. And the album is called 6-2. So like the word six, because the first album he did was 6, and they did another one called 6-2.
Okay, it's someone else, but okay. I now have him pulled up. Okay, so that's the album.
I don't. You could literally type in his name, scroll to any random song you want to, and I promise you it's going to be a banger.
All right, I trust you. I'll listen to it and I will let you know. So we got the album. Now, movie or TV show? It's tough. It is a tough question.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, so I've my mom's in the background, and she a big family.
I know the words to Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
all the dialogue. You guys watching
a big movie a family movie that we all watched was the Count of the Monte Cristo, and we watched that as kids, and we watched it over and over and over again, like we know all the words to it. But
you know what? I know the name. Isn't that kind of like an older movie, right? It's like kind of okay. I might have seen it, but I definitely know the name.
It was a book first, right? Yep.
Okay. I'm going to look it up after this interview. So we've got, I definitely will have to also let you know about that one. Definitely will listen to the album. I'll do that tonight and I'll let you know. I'll just pick a random song because I trust that they're all good, like you said. All right. So a snack, and this is the most important one. No pressure, but this is where I put all of like my interests because I'm very big into snacks.
Okay. I kind of have, so doing, now that I'm starting to change, have a lifestyle and starting to eat healthier, I find some alternative snacks to like chips and cookies and stuff like that. So, but something that hit very, very hard that I did not think was going to was the Blue Diamond Sriracha barbecue almonds.
Ooh, those do sound good.
They sound awesome. Oh, you know what? Blue Diamond almonds.
Those are like a very popular. That's what I have, but I just have like the plain ones.
I have the salt and vinegar. I love those.
Very insane.
So Blue Diamond Sriracha.
Sriracha anything works.
But it's Sriracha Ranch, you said, or Sriracha?
Sorry, not sriracha. Habanero. It's habanero.
Oh, habanero.
Are they kind of
Habanero's really
spicy?
good.
Not really. Like there's a little kick to them, but like the barbecue flavor comes through more than that.
Okay.
Those also sound good.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could eat those and like tell myself they're almonds. So like even if there is like a lot of flavoring and seasoning and salt, I'll just be like, no, they're almonds. This is my healthy snack. So that intrigues me. All right. Solid 3 recommendations. Very much. I don't really have anything to recommend at the moment. Jake, do you want to? Sometimes we give out recommendations, but I have to think about.
I mean, do you like TV shows? Like, do you have a specific genre you would look at?
Honestly, my TV show, I've jumped around from a lot of things. I was big on The Office, The Big Bang Theory. My friends are recommending the Bel Air show.
Fantastic show.
Really?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I actually got a recommendation. I think I want to say, was it Jonathan Ford when we interviewed him? He said Bel Air.
It was Jonathan Ford and Lucida Smith.
It might have been.
Wasn't it one of the first ones of the season?
Yeah. So I think one of them recommended it for me, and I'm like, really? Is it that good? And I was like, oh my god, I can't get enough of this. Like, so yeah, I recommend that. But I'm actually watching one that I just started actually. If you know Martin Freeman and Adam Brody, and then the guy that he was in like the X-Men First Class, he's in it as well. But it's called Startup. I just started watching it, and I don't even know what streaming service is on that. I think it's only on Crackle, so that's the only downside. But it's really good. It's about like the guy that Adam Brody's playing gets like $2 million of dirty money that is supposed to be laundered for his father.
Mm-hmm.
And so he invests it in this crypto business called GenCoin. And so he's got all these different people that want their money. He's got the FBI, like all of these people are just like it's crazy. I've watched 4 episodes and I already would recommend it because I just got into it. It's pretty crazy.
Okay.
So it's called Startup.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That's what I would recommend right now, since that's what that's what I'm watching. But
okay. I'll check it.
So I was gonna recommend. So have you heard Future's new album yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, because I was trying to think of albums that I recently saved. Because the artist you recommended was rap, right?
No, actually more
hip-hop?
R&B.
Oh, really? Okay, so R&B. Okay, my favorite R&B album of all time actually came out last year, by Her. Back in my mind, have you heard that one?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, that would be my recommendation then, because I like Her album. Well, there's a lot of good ones that came out last year. Kalani's not her last one that just came out, but she had one 2 years ago that was like also really good. But yeah, that Her album's like one of I still listen to. Ever since it came out last year, I listen to it like almost every day. Great album. But anyways, thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Even though that we did have some tech issues that hopefully end up not being a big deal. We'll see. We really appreciate your patience coming on the show. Very, very excited for you. Very, very excited. Obviously for just the Ram season in general, but really excited to see what you can do and what you'll contribute to the team. We think you'll like it out there. Obviously, we're Rams fans, but I really think that you'll like it. You'll have a great time. And like you mentioned, it's LA. It's not a bad place to be.
Well, thank you for having me. I was excited to do it.
Absolutely. It's been awesome getting to know you a little bit more, Daniel. If you need anything, definitely we'll have to stay in touch, and we're here for you. We're rooting for you, and excited to see you do work in horns, man.
Absolutely. Horns up, baby.